Even though Alita Battle Angel hit theaters back in 2019, fans have been pushing for a sequel ever since. The movie, directed by Robert Rodriguez and produced by James Cameron, introduced audiences to a cyborg named Alita, who wakes up in a dystopian world with no memory of her past. As she starts uncovering who she really is, she realizes she has incredible combat skills, which leads her on a journey to discover the truth. While it didn't exactly break box office records, its unique style and world building helped it gain a loyal following that hasn't stopped asking for more. The problem is, even though Alita made $404 million worldwide according to Box Office Mojo, that wasn't enough to be considered a win for the studio. With a production budget of $170 million and an equally massive marketing spend, the movie just didn't bring in the kind of profits needed to guarantee a sequel. Because of that, any early discussions about Alita Battle Angel 2 were seemingly put on ice. But now, things are starting to change, and it looks like a sequel is back in the conversation. Despite the lack of official updates for a while, Alita Battle Angel producer John Landau has remained optimistic about the future of the franchise. He's assured fans that talks are still happening behind the scenes, and he's proud of what they accomplished with the first movie. In an interview, Landau even said, "I want to be able to definitely do more in that world," which makes it clear that he and James Cameron still have Alita on their radar. And it's not just vague talk. James Cameron himself has confirmed that Alita 2 is happening. As recently as July 2023, Cameron mentioned that he'd be working on new Alita films alongside his Avatar projects. Director Robert Rodriguez also chimed in, saying in May 2023 that discussions were happening again and that both he and Cameron wanted to move forward with the sequel. However, there was no clear timeline since Cameron and his team were busy with the Avatar sequels. So, where does that leave things? Well, while the word talks can sometimes feel non-committal in Hollywood, recent developments suggest Alita 2 is becoming more of a reality. In October 2023, Rodriguez gave a promising update, stating that the sequel would likely start serious production after the SAG-AFTRA strikes ended. Since those strikes officially wrapped up on November 9, 2023, the road seems a little clearer for Alita 2 to move forward. Now, assuming things continue progressing, who would actually return for the sequel? It's pretty much a given that Rosa Salazar will be back as Alita. She's been vocal about her commitment to the role, even saying, "I will fight to make Alita 2 happen until the end of time." Aside from her, most of the original cast could potentially return, except for Mahershala Ali, whose character Vector didn't survive the first film. That means we could see Christoph Waltz reprising his role as Dr. Dyson Ito, Alita's mentor and father figure. Edward Norton, who had a small but significant role as Nova, is also likely to return, given that his character is a major villain in Alita's world. Jennifer Connelly's character, Dr. Chiron, had a complex arc in the first movie, so there's a chance she could come back as well. And in a December 2023 interview, Jeff Fahey, who played McTeague, hinted that he'd be working with Rodriguez again in the summer of 2024, suggesting Alita 2 might finally be getting off the ground. As for the story, while Rodriguez hasn't given away any details, the first movie left plenty of room for a sequel. The biggest setup was Alita's rivalry with Nova, who is essentially the Alita franchise's equivalent of Thanos. Since Nova was left standing at the end of the first movie, it makes sense that Alita 2 would focus on her going after him for revenge, especially after what happened to Hugo. There's also the mysterious city in the sky, Salem, which was heavily teased in the final moments of Alita Battle Angel. If the sequel happens, it seems inevitable that Alita will finally make her way to Salem and face whatever challenges await her there. So while we're still waiting for an official production start date, things are definitely moving in the right direction. With Cameron, Rodriguez, and the cast all eager to return, and with the success of sci-fi franchises on the rise, Alita 2 might finally become a reality. It's taken a while, but the pieces are falling into place, and fans might not have to wait much longer for the sequel they've been hoping for. Now that James Cameron isn't tied up with Avatar Fire and Ash filming, can we finally shift focus to Alita 2? That's the big question on every fan's mind. Of course, Cameron still has his hands full with the Avatar franchise, which continues in December 2025 and has sequels planned well into the next decade. But let's be honest, if anyone can juggle multiple blockbuster projects, it's James Cameron. Given his track record, it wouldn't be shocking if he found a way to push Alita 2 forward while still overseeing Avatar. Unfortunately, the road to Alita's return has hit an emotional and logistical hurdle with the passing of John Landau in July 2024. Landau wasn't just a producer, he was a driving force behind Alita Battle Angel and a key figure in making the first film a reality. His absence will undoubtedly make things more challenging, as he was one of the biggest champions of the franchise. The question now is whether Cameron, Robert Rodriguez, and the rest of the team can keep that momentum alive without him. Despite these challenges, the sequel isn't officially dead, far from it. Over the past year, multiple updates have hinted that Alita 2 is still very much in the conversation. Cameron himself has confirmed plans for more Alita films, and Rodriguez has been vocal about his enthusiasm to return. The pieces are there, they just need to come together in a way that makes sense for the studio and the creative team. That being said, tangible progress has been slow. There's no official start date for production, no confirmed script, and no solid release window. With Cameron's deep involvement in Avatar, it may still be a while before Alita 2 gets the full attention it deserves. However, the recent updates and continued interest from fans suggest that it's not a matter of if the sequel happens, but when. For now, all we can do is wait and hope that once Cameron wraps up his current commitments, he shifts gears and gives Alita the sequel it deserves. Until then, fans will keep the dream alive, hoping for that long-awaited return to Iron City and beyond. So earlier this year, Rodriguez mentioned that Cameron had already mapped out general storylines for Alita 2 and even a third movie. This came after months of little updates, where actors and the creative team kept expressing how much they wanted to return for another film. But even with Cameron's enthusiasm, Disney still hasn't made any official announcements about more Alita movies, at least not yet. The reason Alita 2 has taken so long to get going is pretty simple. While the first movie did make back its budget, pulling in around $405 million worldwide, it wasn't exactly a massive hit. That made things tricky, especially when Disney bought 20th Century Studios not long after. But despite all that, the movie has built a passionate cult following, and both the fans and cast are still pushing for a sequel. Plus, Cameron's recent Avatar: The Way of Water success just adds more weight to his comments about wanting to revisit the Alita universe. Whether he's super confident that Alita 2 will be a hit, or he might be planning to film both sequels back-to-back, similar to how he's handling the Avatar franchise. If both movies really are moving forward, then we should be hearing something official from Disney sooner rather than later. And that's what we have to say about upcoming movie. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.